the Get Up and Shine Show, where your host Lillian Taylor brings you intimate and inspiring interviews from people who faced off with serious life struggles and prevailed. As our guests revisit with the moments, realizations, and tools that helped them break through, you might just walk away more empowered in your own life. It's that time. Get up and shine.
Hi, it's Lillian Taylor with part 2 of our talk with Rick Bergen of Vibrational.
It's used all over the world. They use it in Europe. They use it in Asia. It's just one of the best pieces of diagnostic equipment you could have. It'll be a long time before it's used in the United States.
That is to say, a long time before its use is prevalent. If my field in my brain is not optimized because I get a head injury and I've got, maybe it's an occipital nerve injury, or I've had too much radiation from my phone being close to my ear and I've developed brain cancer, or I have an encephalitis-like disease. Is that all going to show up the same way, or are they're different frequencies depending upon what the ailment is?
The biofield is this reflection of the physical body. You can see things energetically, and because of the amount of research that has now been done, if you are a specialist using this equipment, you can see things that you can say, if you look here on your kidneys, you'll see this imprint. It's something, this energy pattern that we're seeing right here indicates that if you don't make a change as it relates to your kidneys, this could turn into cancer. More than likely will. But you can see things before it is in a physical form, before you start having issues with it. Now, getting down to specific diseases, here's the other bent, if you will. Western medicine looks at things, the point of view that we're all physical. And we know that we're not. You take some diagnoses and say, okay, they've got this and they've got this and they got this pain and that pain there. They must have this. And that's not curable. Well, that's just not so, because at an energy level, everything is curable. There is nothing that's not curable, because the only difference between a cancer cell and a healthy cell is the vibration that it's going at. You change the vibration of the cell, you change it back from cancerous to healthy. And the fact is that you can do that in a nanosecond. And the truth is, it happens in a nanosecond, no matter what medium they're using.
So basically what you're saying, it's irrelevant whether it's a kidney infection or a kidney cancer, no matter what it is. If it's vibrating at an irregular or improper pattern, the focus is on getting it back into a healthy pattern, not in trying to identify what, quote-unquote, mystery ailment it might be. Is that a good summary?
I'm not sure I was clear on that question, so say it to me one more time.
Okay. So if you look at a pattern,
yes,
the point is not to identify whether it is kidney cancer as opposed to kidney infection.
Okay.
Those may or may not show up at different vibrational frequencies, but it doesn't matter. The point is not to diagnose, it's just to get the vibration back to a healthy pattern.
The idea is to get it back to a healthy pattern. If you're dealing with a practitioner who's had enough experience, who's seen or has the data to say, okay, that's an infection, that's cancer. So there are practitioners who can say that's that. But to answer the second part, yes, it really doesn't matter, because all we're trying to do is change those energy patterns back to a healthy vibration, and everything else fixes itself.
Okay. Now, what can you tell people that they can just do ordinarily and every day that they should do to maintain health from a vibrational point?
Yeah.
Like, should they get rid of certain things? And
Yeah. So this is really important to kind of understand. So if we can get people to, first of all, realize that everything is energy, not just at a that's a neat idea, right? Because
but reconceptualize who they are or what they are.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are beginning to buy into this concept theory that's being proven on a regular basis by science, but they don't. It's just a neat idea. They haven't experienced it because we've been trained as soon as we're born into this space to be physical, to think physical, to feel physical. Really, all it is our system, our energetic computer system, interpreting things in a specific way to have us occur physical and see everything physical. And there's some people who actually can see the energy, not just the physicality. As we evolve, if you will, more and more of us will actually see that and better understand it. But the key is that we're looking at, how do I adjust the field? How do I adjust the frequencies in a way that's going to negate or make healthy vibration of these cells? Mm-hmm. So that's the goal. Understanding that none of our products heal anything. So it's so important to realize that we're not creating products to heal anything. All we're doing is creating products to assist the biofield to bring it into the correct resonance. So wellness is a natural byproduct of that effect. So if you think about this from the point of view of a tuning fork, you've got two tuning forks and you strike one and you hold the other one up. The other one starts to vibrate at the same frequency or resonance. So what we're trying to do is the same thing with the organs and systems in the body, to bring them to the correct resonance or frequency or vibration so that they again begin to communicate again. So if you think about, I'm listening to the radio. How does it sound when I'm between stations? Well,
static.
Yeah, you get a lot of static. The communication is bad. But as soon as you dial it in to the right frequency, all of a sudden communication starts happening again. Well, that's exactly what goes on in our physical body. The frequency gets off. Let's just say the frequency gets off in my liver for some reason. Something I ate, drank, thought, come in contact with. So the frequency of my liver is off just a little bit, not a whole bunch, just a little bit. We understand that everything in the body has to communicate. If my liver is off just a little bit, it begins to break down communication. So now communication between the liver and the kidneys, and the liver and the heart, and the liver and various other things gets less and less. Now I'm not passing the correct information to have everything else work effectively. And then over time, that affects other organs and systems. Now, what we do in Western medicine is we go, oh, you've got a liver problem. Here, take this pill for your liver. And that pill may have the frequencies to help bring that liver back into balance, into resonance. But the problem is, in so many cases, we see that it did that, it helped the liver, but it took the kidney out of frequency, or the heart, or some other part, which is where we get what they call side effects. So
that's interesting.
It's all about communication. It's all about the understanding of the breakdown in communication. So go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering, have you ever thought about using this technology as a way to measure the effectiveness, maybe as a seal of approval for those medications that have minimal or no side effect?
Well, the challenge is, first of all, that Western medicine medical doctors are not trained in this,
Right.
which is unfortunate because before the turn of the century, they were. And they were trained.
Interesting.
Yeah, before the 19th century, before the turn of the century, back in the late 1800s, they were taught all about natural healing. They were taught about herbs and foods and how what we ate affected us. You might get a dietary recommendation instead of a pill. But then when the pills came along and we all want something quick, okay, you mean I can just take a pill? Yeah.
Right.
Well, that there's a whole culture fell into that, and there's a whole story behind how that happened, having to do with money and greed and human nature at some level.
Well, and instant gratification and making it easy and being afraid and having kind of an instant remedy. I'm sure that played a part in the attractiveness of the pills.
Right. That kind of got that whole ball rolling forward, and everyone was excited. It's cutting edge technology, but they weren't looking at the bad news. They were only looking at the good news. And from a pharmaceutical point of view, the bad news for them was good news. Because then
That's
they could
true.
create another pill to help the side effect of the first pill. So it became this snowball effect. Today, we are where we are.
Right, so-
Now people are opening up. Now this ancient technology is coming back, and now we have the science to show how it changes things. This GDV camera, this biophotonic camera, it'll be a long time before it's used here in the United States. It's used all over the world. They used it in Europe. They used it in Asia. It's just one of the best pieces of diagnostic equipment you could have. But because Western medicine, i.e. the U.S., is so entrenched in pills and surgeries and chemo and all that stuff, if they tried to use it in drug studies, which is what you were suggesting, I think,
Yes.
they might look at the field and go, okay, look, your liver's out, and okay, now we're going to give you this pill. Oh, look, your liver's in. But then they see that the kidneys went out. It gives the whole picture, and Western point of view doesn't look from the whole picture. They look more like you're a car, and you need parts replaced.
Okay. Well, is this available as a medical diagnostic tool in Canada or in Mexico?
It's actually available here in the U.S., but it's not used by Western, medical doctors. Now,
Are we finding it more in use in alternative medicine clinics?
yes, you'll find it in alternative places. For instance, the place I first came across the equipment was at a wellness fair in New Jersey. There was a young lady who is an acupuncturist who does what they call color therapy, and they use different colored lasers on acupuncture points to affect the field, affect the energy, and change things. The way she used the equipment was that she would have a client come in and she would take a picture of their biofield and she'd point out, she'd go, okay, look, you've got a little issue here and a little issue here and a little issue here, and we'll start working on that. And she'll do her therapy with the lasers, and patient will come back in a couple days or a week. She'll look at another picture and go, okay, look, all right, so we've resolved this problem. We've still got this one and this one. She'd do some more work and then continue in that way, using it as a diagnostic piece of equipment to make sure that what she's doing is resolving the issues. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
And then are there studies? I mean, are these doctors taking copious notes and keeping track? I think the criticism is, it's just an anecdotal thing.
The proof is overwhelming.
Great.
I mean, it's overwhelming. There's so much proof, it's ridiculous. But again, we still live in a culture that I'm going to call it new.
Yeah.
Right? So we live in a new culture that is still having trouble buying into stuff that's been around for 5,000 years. It's not new information, Yeah,
it's new to them, though.
Yeah.
So we have some early adapters, but we have a lagging population because that's not what they grew up learning.
Yes.
And it was trust your doctor, right?
The alternative doctors, naturopaths, chiropractors, those acupuncturists, they're using this kind of equipment. It would never be approved for Western medicine because the the close ties in the medical community between the medical boards and the pharmaceutical companies and everything that's going on in that space. And that's not going to change until we do. That's not going to change until the public gets educated enough to go, wait a minute, this instant relief pill thing that helped with my kidneys just screwed up my liver, and I'm not doing this anymore. And people are finally starting to do that. People are finally going, okay, so the medical doctor says I've got this. You know what? I'm going to go get an alternative point of view. I'm going to go to a naturopath or a chiropractor, or I'm going to leave the country. You know, cancer is cured all over the world every single day. This is the only country where they still have a story that cancer can't be cured. And it's sad. And the fact that chemo and radiation actually kills more people than it heals is
that's really
it's sad. But it is. Again, it is what it is. We created it. We bought into it. And only we can change it. And that's what I'm here for. That's part of my purpose, is to raise the awareness of the reality that we've created, especially around wellness and living a vibrant life.
That's the name, Vibrance.
Okay, so
I like hearing that we can change and that it is going to change. I think the momentum and the awareness of all things natural is really growing in the population, and that's borne out by a lot of studies. In particular, Nielsen did a study recently about how strong organic and natural products are in the marketplace and how important it is for companies to align themselves with those things. And I think that the same is going to be held for the medical profession. I mean, I just love it that on television now when a drug is introduced, it says, by the way, it may cause all these other things, and I always wonder, then why in the world would I take it? So this is great. Definitely something to explore more, for sure. My question now is one of concern about restrictions and accreditation. As we've known, every great thing that's come into the world that can be so beneficial can also be used for harm. And I can really see this being, for instance, weaponized. I can really see practitioners who are substandard in their practice just jumping on the bandwagon because they think they can make a bunch of money and really not being proficient. Are there accreditation communities, or is the training highly available? Is it very difficult? I mean, how do you know you've got a doctor who really can turn this on in the right way?
Well, first of all, word of mouth is really, like, you've got to do your own investigation. And you see, here's the challenge we really have today is there's a lot of people with no accreditation, no credentials, that are so far advanced in the healing arts that it's ridiculous that you would need any level of accreditation. Typically, what happens is accreditation and credibility comes with control. Control, in some cases, is not a bad thing, but in most cases, it gets out of hand. So, just like the medical community, Western medicine has gotten out of hand with the medical boards and doctors being afraid to try alternative things for fear that they might lose their license, even though there's way more documentation that would suggest that these things work. So if you're looking for an alternative practitioner, okay, just ask around, because they're popping up all over the place and they have results, and you can talk to the people that got the results. You can do and need to do your own investigation when it comes to that. And the same thing with products. It's important to do your own investigation with products. Most people don't want to do that. They just want to go, oh, so-and-so, yeah, look them up, I'll use them. They don't take the time to do a little investigation to see, okay, well, are there other people using this doctor or these products? How are they working? Are they getting some results? So you don't have to go into extensive stuff. And the other thing is that we as a culture, and this is not just the U.S., this is global, we haven't learned to trust ourselves. Mm-hmm. We haven't learned to trust our own intuition. First, to look at, do I trust myself?
Yeah, that's a big one.
And am I willing to trust my intuition above what this doctor's telling me?
Because just like there's an energetic imprint of an ill body part, there's also an energetic imprint of somebody who's not being forthright. And you can feel it. You can tell.
Yes.
We get stuck looping on some unpleasantness from long ago, develop chronic aches that capture our attention. You know what? Shift gears. Reassure your body, and any pain, small or great, that all will be okay. Reassure your mind that positive change is constant. You must, because just as in every relationship, good health is all about proper communication with your body. We'll be right back. Ever thought that sharing your story might help someone else? Meet Milana Walter. Milana, tell our audience about your story your way.
Many, many times, hearing someone else's story gave me that jolt of hope needed at the time. Can your story help someone? At Your Story Your Way, we help you tell it as a short story, book, or script. No one knows your story better than you. So what are you waiting for? Visit yourstoryyourway.com.
I read that the electrical frequency from your heart is 10 times stronger than that of your brain. Be mindful of what you think, but what do you feel? Let the morning sun kiss your face and allow it to flush you with joy down to your toes. Marvel at the sparkle of the sun's interplay with water as you hold up a glass, then drink it down. Feel sun sparkles running through your whole self. Let that glow extend throughout you and resonate deep in your belly, burst through your fingertips, twinkle through the smile in your eyes. Indulge your joy, so when that ugly rears its head, you readily overwhelm it and maintain your good health. Yeah, get up and shine for you. Next week, part 3.
We'll return next Tuesday with more great content. Catch a preview at www.getupandshineshow.com and join the mailing list for access to great tools to help you. And remember, it's your time to get up and shine.